Welcome back, you lovely lot. Now, there's a massive playlist for this auction. This is our Saturday the 13th of April auction. We've got 150 lots, 150 cars and bikes, which means 4 videos this time. So make sure you've liked, subscribed, rang that bell, and make sure you're on the playlist so you're not missing any. And let's steam into this absolute beauty. How about this 1972 Series 3 E-Type V12 Roadster? Now, I know everyone goes all misty-eyed for Series 1, and they are a very beautiful car, but dare I say, in terms of usability, waftability, Series 3 is a better car. This one's amazing. Went out to America, was with a Texan owner out in New York, left-hand drive of course, with the V12, massive history file from the US, and so much money has been spent. Between 2015 and 2017, over $46,000 was spent. It's then come back here, had a load of recommissioning, loads of beautiful work done, and there are bills for all of it. Just had a new roof, just had the seats fluffed up by Aldridge trimming with new foams in there as well. That's another £3,000 bill. So if you're looking for a car that wants for nothing, this one has had a blessed existence. Because of that, obviously, as with all the nice cars, not an inexpensive car, between £60,000 and £70,000 if you fancy it. But walking around, guys, it's very, very hard to fault. Do not worry about left-hand drive. It's because it's come from a much nicer climate. You'll get used to it in 2 days, and when you come to sell, it will sell in Europe and sell for more, so that's always good. Now, turning around, other ways to go fast in red cars. Shouldn't have a favourite child, shouldn't have a favourite auction lot, but I declare this is my favourite auction lot from our Saturday sale. Look at it. You know me, I love 90s rallying, I love homologation cars. This has to be one of the best because there weren't many manufacturers in 90s rallying putting coupes in. And obviously coupes look even better than the saloons. We've got some Mitsubishi Evos coming later, and on other videos we've got Subaru Imprezas. But this of course is the GT4 Turbo, the car that did very well with Toyota Team Europe in rallying and with Carlos Sainz. And this was the special edition road car they did. Now we all know homologation cars, very big tick. Anything that's limited edition or spun off a world championship, very big tick. This has both of those. 134,000 miles, but please take your time to look at the history. It has had a fortune spent on it. It's one of 440 UK supplied cars, 205 horsepower, which isn't that fast, but who cares when you look that good and it's that rare. But the most important thing is, since 2020, over £15,000 spent. I do think you could tuck that away. It's a nice mileage because you can use it. It's not so low you daren't drive it. You drive this all the time in the summer. I say do check the bills, do pull it. The only thing I can really crib it on, being hypercritical, I would just correct this paint. The paint is very, very good, but it's probably a decent detailer, and 300 or 400 quid would make this car, I would say, almost show quality. It is that nice. So bid on that. Have 13 to 15 grand in your piggy bank, and you'd be very, very happy if you took that home. That's beautiful. A car we sell a lot of, and with very good reason. I do think this is the best colour as well. 1988 Ford Escort XR3i with 2,919 miles. What the F? That's so low. There you go. One owner from new, under 3,000 miles, original spec. The mileage is backed up by MOT certificates. I kid you not, people. You are basically looking at a demo mileage XR3i and everything. Tell you what gives it away. Come and look at these seats. Look at this. We all know about the baggy bolsters on old Fords. No baggy bolsters here. Look at that. So that is about as close as you would get to buying the X demo out of your dealer in 1988. Driven 40 miles to the sales room, which must have been scary in terms of the percentage of average miles that's added. It's got the original Bristol Street Motor sticker in the back, a matching set of Pirellis. It's had the cam belt on major service in Feb of last year. And what a thing, what a thing. Look how straight that is. Now that's going to be a significant amount of money because I think that genuinely conforms to be a once in a lifetime purchase. You aren't going to find many of those. That's going to be somewhere between 25 and 27, but then I do think that's exceptional value because you could easily spend that restoring one these days and then it wouldn't be original with low mileage. So have a look at that. Isn't that a very special thing? Well done to whichever one of my amazing team can sign that. What an honour to have that. That's very lovely, isn't it? Really, very lovely. The condition is exactly as you'd expect a 3,000 mile Ford to be, just spot on. One of the most beautiful shapes, I did a little online survey for Haggerty the other day of what was the nicest shape XJ, and pretty much everybody said these early XJs. This is a Daimler, of course, a Sovereign 4.2. What a fabulous thing. And have a look under here, look. This is why you want one of these, not only the very cool forward flipping bonnet. There you go. Look at that. It looks very original under there, doesn't it, to be fair? 56,000 miles, beautiful all-round condition, loads of history with it as well. We think that mileage of 56 is real and credible and genuine. And just looking at all the edges and everything, it just looks like a car that's had a very easy life. I love the fact this is a Daimler actually. I'm sure most of you know, but if you don't, it's the fluted grille is always the giveaway on a Daimler. If that was a Jag, it would be smooth. Adds a little bit of exclusivity and difference, but look at the interior. So the cream is adorable, and then you've got this fabulous red leather interior that's in very nice condition. 2 previous owners, and it's been with the current owner for an awfully long time. There you go, look at that. Original dealer book pack with it as well, all the instruction books. Really needing very little, and that's not going to be a massive amount of money. Again, cars that you'd rather buy in that condition than try and restore it. 10 to 12 grand would take you that home, and you got tiny bits of micro blistering on the paint. But again, I just wouldn't touch it. I'd live with it, just enjoy it for what it is. It will drive and waft beautifully. I came up here today in a 90s XJ that I bought from here, of course, and you cannot touch the waftability of an old Daimler or an old Jag, and I don't think you can touch the aesthetic of an XJ. I just think they are the most perfectly proportioned car. If you like your Jags to be a little bit later, but no less lovely, look at this. XKR 4.2 Coupe on the best wheels that they ever did on the 20s. Lovely condition inside and out, this one as well. Perfect headlining, which you do have to watch on these early noughties cars. Drive and presents beautifully. We know this car. We know it's a good one. Straight through the last MOT as well. Got lots of bits. Have a look inside. I do think this era of Jaguar, you are looking at almost Aston-esque aesthetics and Aston-esque road presence, but for a fraction of the cost. Well, that said, DB7s aren't massive amounts of money, but I don't know, there's something about these XKRs. They're very quick, the 4.2. 8 to 9 grand would buy you that, 75,000 miles, loads of bills and history, metallic black, with the colour-coded wheels. That's lovely. Another XKR, perhaps you want to go with your roof down? No less special, another car on split rims. Jag were just absolutely nailing the wheel game in the early noughties, weren't they? They had so many good OEM wheel designs that looked absolutely fabulous, and so many nice option wheels. 2004 car, 107,000 miles, low owners on this. It's the limited edition X400 as well. It's got that private plate that stays with it. You're getting that as well. A great history file on there. And this only came in 3 colours, this model. This is platinum, this one. I think you've got midnight and slate with the other 2 as well. Just a lovely thing. The R Performance Montreal wheels, I do think make this. And you wouldn't need to spend a huge amount of money to take that home. 8 or 9 grand, aren't they just stunning value, these cars? They just, to me, represent a very wonderful way to travel for a not massive amount of money. And the vents let you know that under the bonnet, things are about to get very serious. If you've never driven one of these, they are spectacularly quick. Not quick for an early noughties car, just quick, really quick. Now moving on, talking of really quick, have a look under here. There's a reason that we've left the bonnet open on this. You can see from the manifold, the rather large intakes on here as well, the clear cam covers and the excessive strut bracing. This is a very special motor car. So this has done 39,000. It's clearly a Tommi Makinen, and this is something you won't see very often. This was before Tommi Makinens became worth £11 million and nobody dare modify them. A Tommi Mac that was modified before that happened. You've got the uprated rad there as well. It is a genuine Tommi Mac, guys. Number 98 if you want to know. Over £50,000 in modifications if you want this. Heavily modified by Evo specialists with loads of great parts on it. Lots of original parts with the car. This will make on pump fuel, super unleaded, 550 horsepower. It's got APs on it as well. Some money being spent. Have a look inside as well. It's absolutely crazy. 4 former keepers. It's been with our current vendor for 3 years. And it's all the names. Now, modified cars you either love or you hate. Being totally brutally honest with you, I love them. You'll never make quite as much from a modified car as you will out of a standard car. But who cares, honestly, guys? It's not all about making loads of money. It's all about enjoying the car. This has got a roll cage, so you can be very leery. If you are taking it on track, not only will you pass everybody, but you've got a little bit of an insurance policy there as well. I don't think anyone will ever dare modify a Tommi Mac again because they're just worth too much money now. So you've got the wonderful opportunity to buy a genuine Tommi Mac with very cool, big brand name mods. You can be the beneficiary of that remarkable situation. So 50 grand's worth of mods on a car that's probably worth, crikey, 50 grand at least. Buy it for 25, 27. There's a lot to be said for buying second-hand modded cars. I think it's a great way to do it. Talking of which, talking of tastefully modified cars that represent something of a bargain, how about this? Lovely Sierra Cosworth, 3-door, in white, the shape that everybody wants, 97,000 miles, 21 stamps in the service book, a matching numbers car. Now this has had what they call the Norris Motorsport gunship conversion, so this is 350 brake. Because if you've ever driven a standard Cosworth, you'll know they're very beautiful, very desirable. They're not that fast, but this one is. Got a fresh timing belt replacement in May 2020, which is only less than 400 miles ago, because it's not been doing loads of miles. Coney suspension, new Toyos on it as well. It's got the original owner certificate, the warranty plan book, a stamped service record, and it's been garaged and dry stored for the last 27 years. So can't stress again enough, guys, these converted cars, these modified cars, represent to me a bit of a bargain because you pay less than the standard car. Ultimately, if you're looking at a car like this purely from an investment value, a standard car will always appreciate more, but you could argue that a modified car is more fun to own. So I think I'd have this one. What are we estimating this one at? Somewhere I would say about 45 to 50 would take you that. A standard car would be more and a standard car would be slower. So I would put my money into that and have a lot of fun. And also, of course, when you've got a modified car already, there's nothing to stop you doing more stuff to it and making it your car and doing it your way. I like that very, very much indeed. The car that started at the sports car craze and arguably the grandfather of the MX-5, 1968 Lotus Elan S4 Drophead Coupe, loads of money spent to get it to this standard and it is very, very nice. Estimate on this is 15 to 17, mileage on this is 20,000, massive rebuild 20,000 miles ago, all of which is photographed. Certificate of provenance from Lotus and just really nice attention to detail. I would say, Fraser, come and stand about here, mate, and have a look at this and show the lovely people at home just how nice this car is. Best colour for an S4, I think, as well. It's basically a complete rebuild and everything about it has been done to a lovely standard from the seats to the dashboard. Do come and have a look over the boot as well, Fraser, just give you that driver's eye view and show how nice it is in there. New set of SPAC shock absorbers if you want to fit them. The car's driving beautifully as it is. So the owner has been very conscientious and even some of the spares they had bought to upgrade but haven't yet fitted are there with it. That's going to cost you 15 to 17 if you fancy that. I think you'd struggle again. Another car that you couldn't restore for anything like that. And just a wonderful way to travel. If you haven't ever driven one of these, there's a reason why this was used as the benchmark. When Mazda bought the MX-5 out, was developing that car, they bought one of these to basically benchmark and try and get the car to handle and feel like this. Because even by modern standards, they are that good. They really are. Onto this lovely 1963 Triumph TR4, beautiful condition, really well maintained, ready to rock and ready to go. 71,000 miles on a manual car in Old English white, which everyone will tell you one of the best colours on an old Triumph. And it's my favourite thing, it's an older restoration. And the reason I like those so much, I say this every single time, is with an older restoration that still looks really nice, you know it was a good job. If you restore a car 6 weeks ago and it looks great, of course it does, because filler hasn't had time to sink, rust hasn't had time to come through. If you have a car that looks in this beautiful condition that was restored many years ago, as this one was, it was clearly a very good job. 4,000 miles since restoration, 2 owners across the last 23 years, and a massive history file including all the restoration photographs. Had an oil and filter in 2022 and a fresh battery last year, and a big history file. So there you go. MOT'd through to June of this year. Of course, you don't have to MOT it, but isn't it nice to see owners that do? Owners that clearly care. So that's a lovely car. Over to this, if you like your British Roadsters, hard to argue this isn't just the archetypal one. People watching all over the world will go, I really want this car. Morgan Plus 8, 1994. What is not to love about this car? It's the right colour, it's British Racing Green. It's got the right engine, it's the Plus 8. It's manual. This is it, this is British sports car, isn't it? Personified, with the wider wheels. Ed, my little colleague here, did a fabulous video on this, so do watch that. It really sums it up what it's all about. Just a fine looking old school sports car that you can still use every single day. Loads of options on this, I say, including the wider wheels. It's got the 3.9 Rover in it, the 16-inch polished stainless on it. It's got extractor manifolds, side exit stainless, motor liter wood rim, just all the bits you'd want to spec on this. Loads of MOT history, loads of bills. What a lovely thing. And the market for Morgan just really never goes away, simply because they keep making them, and they keep making cars that look very similar to this. And what that does is really protect the residual values of the older stuff. And also they are huge amounts of fun to drive. I love any Morgan, but a Morgan with a V8, absolute perfection. What a great car, that one. Say, 28 to 32, that could be yours if you fancy it. Or how about a 1954 MG TF1250, which is this remarkable little fella here. British home market car. It's got its side screens in lovely condition. It's got its perfect Art Deco dash as well. You can see this is in very nice condition, this car. It's been with its current owner since 2008 and had a full restoration with full CD evidence. It's got its green registration book, converted to indicators, which the purists will frown, but it actually makes the car much nicer and much safer to live with there as well. And it's been enjoyed and shown with various events around the UK, so it's just a lovely thing that you can just jump in, drive, show, go for a cruise. And the funny thing about the TF, they're actually a little bit bigger inside than the TD. Just super usable car. So 12 to 14 if you fancy that one. Now this next car we've had so much interest in, and as soon as you see it on your television or on your telephone, you will understand why. Because we always talk about the M-Technic 325 Sport, E30 M3s, they've gone. They're too expensive now, none of us can afford them anymore. What is the next car down? What's the next one that's going to be the big earner? Has to be this. One would argue a little bit easier to live with, easier to drive on the limit. 1991 325i Sport, just a great all-rounder. 10 to 14 grand we've got the estimate on this, in completely standard factory specification, 32 stamps in the book, been with the current owner for 27 years. Now I'm going to point out here, if you're buying this car, it looks very shiny and it is very presentable, but you'll just see you've got a little bit of paint crazing on the wing top there. I would suggest on the cover there, it's either UV damage, there's a little bit on this near side front wing here as well. So if you budgeted to paint the wing tops, the boot spoiler, and go in for full paint correction, you'll have a very, very nice car out of this. If you look inside, the interior is lovely. It's got a very long MOT with it as well. Fresh MOT went on in January. Prop shaft mounts were put on at a cost of £509. This has been with a loving owner. It really has been looked after. Like I say, a little bit of money to spend on the paint. I'd refurbish the alloys, and you will have pretty much a mint car there. The mileage is dead nice, 210,000 miles. It's been used, it's been enjoyed, but the history reflects the fact it's been well serviced and maintained. Driver's seat, if you look, needs a little bit of love. Just a bit of bolster wear and tear and a bit of seat base. So again, keep some money in your back pocket to get that restored. But all of these E30s now, anything that's got even a hint of motorsport about it is just worth an absolute fortune. A couple of rust bubbles on the roof. Yeah, so budget for a tiny bit of paint, but that is going to be a very nice car, and somewhere between 10 and 14 would buy you that. Moving on, behind you, Fraser, turn around. Look at this, what an eyeful. Still, I think, an unmatched presence and design language. So I'm lucky enough to have an Arnage, which of course is the same basic shell as this, but the Seraph, the Rolls-Royce version of that car, is much more special because they've made far fewer of them, and you just don't see them. This has got a very year 2000s interior. Can I look at this interior? It's fabulous, look. Look in there, blue dash top, blue wheel, parchment leather, 39,000 miles from you, one of 369, this is what I mean, this is how rare the Silver Seraph was. 7 stamps in the book by main dealers and specialists, lamb's wool over rugs, heated seats, correct Avon tyres, which are not cheap, and is known to the club, this car. It really is an absolutely beautiful thing. You can see the enthusiasm on the badge bar at the front. Now these, because of the design language, which is obviously the old design language modernised, to me looks very, very similar to what Rolls-Royce then went back to quite recently. So although this is a 20-odd-year-old car and a late 90s design, doesn't it still look contemporary? It really does. 28 to 32,000 pound would buy you this car. You would waft, and they do waft. And I don't know what it is about this and the Bentley. When you drive it, you just get that sense of occasion that not every car gives you. And you do feel very, very special when you drive these. So they go, treat yourself to that. Obviously MPG, not great, but when you're driving one of these, do you really care? Again, full rock star cars, cars that you drive feeling like you've just either signed your platinum record deal or won the pools in period, as we used to do then. 1985 Rolls-Royce Corniche convertible, 26,000 miles from new. Just had a service, which is always a nice feeling on a Rolls-Royce as well. Exceptional condition. The original colour combination of willow gold with magnolia hide with brown piping. I mean, just have a look at that. If you were a successful anything in the mid-80s, this is exactly what you got and bought. If you wanted to telegraph your success and status during that time, this is what you did. You went and dropped it all on the Corniche, which was basically big house money in those days. We've got the original bill of sale, the service book, and it's just had a service. But just look at the condition of it. Absolutely stunning. Lovely bit of patination on the seat, but no wear, no cracking or creasing. Just smashing. That's not going to be cheap, of course. 75 to 85 grand if you fancy taking that home. The gold, I love it. It's just very ostentatious. It really suits the car. Or maybe you want something a little bit more up to date. Similar kind of ingredients in a more modern wrapper. We're in Cheshire. This is, I think, the most Cheshire thing we've got in today. 2006 Bentley Continental GTC in a fabulous colour combination. This was a special order. We know the history of this car. It's got a great backstory to it as well. Really nice colour combination, tons of receipts. It's got the special lighter dash as well on there. And it's actually a very, very early Drophead, this one. This is one of the very first that was ordered. And it was meant to be a dealer demo, this car, and then actually got sold to someone that didn't want to wait. But these represent silly value, I think. 19 to 21,000 pound is our estimate on this. And can you think of a nice way to travel? I do think as well, these will become very collectible, like the Corniche. You get a good one of these, look after it, tuck it away. They've pretty much, I think, hit the bottom of their dip and they're going to start to come up the other side now. A true old money car that works anywhere, a non-modified one of these in a good colour combination with a good history. And like I say, the mileage is only 35,000. A clever buy, I think, and just one to enjoy in the summer. Moving on, 1985 Rover. It's got Vitesse wheels, but it's Vanden or Vanden, depending on how you like to pronounce it. I'm not here to judge. Very nice. It's hard to find a good Rover that's not had loads and loads of work and loads of panels. This is a desirable electric sunroof one with grey Connolly leather, which is lovely. We think there's only 18 EFIs left. It's got the Corsic wheel, matching Pirelli tyres. It's had a new power steering pump, air conditioning top-up, ignition coil and full service to the sum of 1,800 quid. This car was actually recommissioned in the early 2000s with new brakes and a whole load of other stuff. But we've actually got parts invoices going back all the way to 1993, believe it or not. What a great colour combination. So I do like the Vanden or the Vanden but I love the Vitesse wheels. So to me, that's the ultimate thing. There's a slight imperfection. I think that's actually just a polish smear, actually. The paint is very, very good on this car. I would wager this has had some very good paint at one time. So if you like that, and I really couldn't fault you if you do, 15 to 18, which really shows how this market for these cars is maturing now. It used to be not that long ago. You know, a nice Rover could be 5, 6, 7 grand. They're now deep into 5 figures. And I think because they're such a usable car, because don't forget, this is a 5-seat waftable hatchback with boot space, automatic. It's the definition of a practical classic. A tiny bit thirsty because it's got that big Rover V8, but you can take your clan, your picnic, all of that goes to the car show, and it's got the Vitesse splitter on the front as well. What a lovely thing that is. So you've got 1982. Now, we've had this car in before. I think it will find a home. This car is an unusual one because it is a higher mileage car with an incredible history, really incredible history. So believe it or not, the mileage on this car, 220,000 miles. But it's one of those cars that they've just literally gone through from front to back forever, just giving it exactly what it needs. But look at the interior. So it's had fresh paint a long time ago, and that was done very well. But look at the wear on the interior. Look how well this car's been maintained. It's got the option sports wheel on as well. Do take your time if you're thinking of buying this car. Look at the history. It is unbelievable. It's a non-sunroof car, which means you get a little bit more headroom in it as well. Just had a fresh MOT. Do not think you're buying a high mileage car, because every single part on this car has been changed and exchanged and uprated and serviced whenever it is needed to be. So there aren't really many parts of this car that have done 220,000 miles. Rear storage box, electric left front seat as well. 27 stamps in the book. £130,000 spent on service history on this car. That's what you're buying. Don't look at the mileage, look at the insane amount of bills. As I say, that car could be anywhere between 20 and £24,000. What a fabulous thing. Don't look at the mileage, look at the bills. That's my advice on those. Moving on to this, another iconic Ford. Not quite as low mileage as our fantastic one over there, but what do you notice about this? Come look inside. You'll notice it's left-hand drive. So this is very interesting because this will make it, I think, somewhat of a bargain. Left-hand drive, 23,000 kilometers, an MOT done in June with no advisories, that's what it goes up to. Imported from Italy in 2021. Now, I don't know which part of Italy, but looking at the condition of the body shell, I would wager a part of Italy that has better weather than we have here in the UK. I really would think that. So I think what you've got here is a classic example of what I always talk about. Buy a left-hand drive car from a country with better climate than we have, in much nicer condition, needing much less restoration. Learn to live with left-hand drive, which takes no time at all. Grab yourself an absolute bargain if this has. And let me tell you what you've got. So original stamped front wings, so that's what I mean. I don't think this has had that many or any panels in it. Uncracked dashboard, unsagging seats. It's got the original dealer sticker, it's got the spare wheel. It's just nice, it's had Yokohamas. It's been loved. Now, if this was a British right-hand drive car, I think you'd be into the 20s in that condition of mileage. This is 15 to 17. So this is what I mean about just live with a left-hand drive and enjoy the savings. And as I say, when you come to sell, they sell in Europe very easily. Someone will take it back to Italy and give you all the money. In 1992, Nissan Pulsar GTI-R, talking of homologation cars, cars that did very well in rallying, are really not common at all. And when was the last time you saw a nice one for sale? I can't think I have, not for a few years now. This one, at 57,000 miles, one former UK owner. So this is a Pulsar. This is JDM one, so you can see it's got the square plate on the back. Really nice spec on this, 57,000 miles, or 92,000 kilometres. One British keeper, it's got the OZs that you can see. No advisories on its MOTs for the last 15 years. That's amazing, what a thing to say. Original spec seats, it's got the BC adjustable coilovers, which actually ride very nicely. It's got the K-Sport 6-pot calipers. It's got a few HKR Super AFR device and a few Japanese electronic gizmos on. It's been very tastefully modified, and it keeps going back to what we keep saying, buy a car with some choice mods on, because actually in some ways they're cheaper and more fun than a standard car. You could buy that for 13 to 15 grand, and I think we'll all look back on those in years to come and think, should have bought one when they were relatively inexpensive. Lots of fun, guaranteed you'll enjoy driving that. If you want instant respect when you go to a car show, GTI-R is the one, Pulsar or Sunny, whichever one you've got, all good news. I personally prefer JDM cars always over British spec cars, they're always better. You always get more toys. Now you're already singing, aren't you, Mrs. Robinson, when you see this. 1967 Alfa Romeo Spider, 1600 Duetto, achingly beautiful, the one that everybody wants, with the boat tail that everybody wants. But this, believe it or not, because they're all Californian imports, aren't they? They've all come from Italy. This is a UK supplied car. Can't be many or any of those left, I wouldn't imagine. 75,000 miles, manual, 3 owners from new and 2 are the same owner, believe it or not. Owned by an Alfa Romeo enthusiast, this car screams that. And it's got the faired-in headlights, which again, everybody wants. This is by far the prettiest. I'll have any single one of these Spiders, they're all gorgeous. But look, this is the detail. It's those faired-in lights. They make such a difference to the look of the car, absolutely gorgeous. And it is exceptional, it really is exceptional. Let me give you some idea. So 382 factory right-hand drives were produced, this is one of them. It was purchased in 1991 by Mr. Lear as a sound basis for restoration, and they've gone through and absolutely bottomed this and put all the metal in. So great story, great provenance, great history. Because of that, because of the fact it is one of those very, very few right-hand drive UK cars, 40 to 45, very good value for what it is. I think money in the bank and you'll have an achingly beautiful car. Really, we always talk about cars that get the nod. Go to a really top-end classic car show, in this, you'll get the nod, you really will. Everybody will appreciate that. And again, another Series 3 Roadster. This one is a 73 E-Type V12. If you thought that one was a good restoration, the previous one, this one has £120,000 worth of bills. Matching numbers car, 59,000 miles. This one's a manual, this one. P4000 Super Touring tyres, power steering, 4-speed manual box on this, full stainless exhaust, new carpets, upgraded steering rack. It's been with the current owner since 2005, so almost 20 years. and since 2015 has had £148,500 spent. There you go. And it's a full memory stick dealing the whole restoration. So if you want to see what was spent on that car, now again, you'll buy that for 80 or 90, which I appreciate isn't a small amount of money, but the car is faultless, once for nothing, and that, as you can see, is a fraction of the restoration cost. With all these cars, guys, if you want to go through the bills and see what has been spent, it is all there for you to peruse. Obviously, come in online, you can go through those folders. If you can't, we do an online video for every single one. And if you can't do that, anything you want us to do, we can do you a talk through or a walk through on the phone, or even send you pictures that you need to do. Now, come with me into the mini room, where I've got a cheeky little frog ice bike for you. Look at this. 1959. You could either buy a Mini or this, an Austin frog ice bike. Cute and cheeky this, loads of history with it, 39,000 miles showing on the Odo, and just a very early and usable example with a great history file. It's got its heritage certificate as well. They've even MOT'd it. I love people that MOT cars that don't need MOTing, because it just shows that they care, and also that you're buying a good one. So side screens, it's got hood, frame and roof. What else can I tell you? It was restored in the early 1990s with a new inner and outer sills and A-posts. It's had a new fuel tank, front brake overhaul, new drums, wheel cylinders, 3-part clutch. Just a nice car, really tidy, presentable. Not perfect, you don't want that, you want it to be usable and lovely. But 9 to 11, just really presentable, clean and tidy. You just have enormous amounts of fun. And everybody loves a Sprite, everybody gives you a wave, everybody lets you out of junctions. This is great, and it really makes me smile how that British Leyland cars and Austin cars and Rover cars have suddenly become very, very cool. And this is cool. Look at this. This is what we all wanted back in the day, if you can see this. Why we thought this was special, red seatbelts. You have no idea how exciting that was in the late 80s. The fact you could have red seatbelts in a car, it was a game changer. So this is done, it's a Metro MG, of course, 1.3, 35,000 miles. Desirable sunroof, and this one is that rare example of one that hasn't gone rusty around the roof. Completely original spec, just very solid and very smart. Around the arches, it's very good. Around the roof, it's very good. In all the places where these rot, this hasn't. And it's got original V5 seat and a number of manuals. So what else can I tell you? Completely original, definitely less than 36,000, and we're pretty sure from everything we can see, that is genuine. And you could buy that car, ladies and gents, for 6.5 to 7.5 grand. In some ways, rarer and cooler than the Ford, don't you think? Because, you know, everyone's got an XR2, but have they got an MG Metro with that mileage, with red seatbelts? Probably not. And I think the styling of that really has held up well. Talking of which, talking of cars that still look fresh, even 20 odd years later, how about this R53 Mini? Looking so good, early Cooper S with loads of history, 64,000. Talk about getting it right. These are starting to climb now, it's really interesting. Everybody's realised this Frank Stephenson design is the one that everybody wants. And really nice, unmolested, clean examples in good condition are starting to hit their cash. Manual car, really early, I say the Stephenson design, what the purists would say is by far the best, wheel in each corner. And you'd pay, I don't know what, 5 or 6 for that? What a great colour. I would say that has to have had paint because the paint's just too good. That has to have been painted because it is like almost a new car. It's been painted, but it's been painted very, very well. I can't believe that survived for 20 years in such good condition. That really is as nice as it looks. So the wheels have been refurbished as well, MOT through to January 2025, fully stamped service book, 3 keys, and came from down the road at Centre in Nottingham, just literally down the road from me. Very nice little car, that one. How about this for a bit of fun? Look, you know it's serious when you've got a driver's roof vent. You've got slidey Lexan windows. This is a proper little race hill climber. Have a look at this, look. Come look at this business place of work in here. So there you go, look at that. This has been built for a single purpose, and that is to go very fast and have fun. So built for racing and hill climbing, but fully road legal. It's had a lot of money, and we have those bills. Huge spec. You can see it's got the roll cage. You can see it's got all of the competition bits, the wide arches, the Perspex windows, the stripped out interior, big bore exhaust. It just looks right. Minis do look good in competition trim. So what would you do with this? Well, I'd imagine it's eligible for quite a lot of stuff, certainly sprints and hill climbs. I'd imagine without too many changes, you might even be able to get this into a circuit race series if those seats are in date. If not, certainly absolute track day hooligan tool. And again, buy this car for a fraction of what it would cost to build. 7 to 8 grand would buy you that. It looks good. Or just have the coolest road car ever. What a thing, what a thing. Moving on to this, we always have good minis in because we have mini enthusiasts on our staff here. Tim absolutely loves minis. 1995 Rover Mini Sidewalk. Why this is good, if you can't afford an Esprit Turbo, someone's locked this door, let's have a look. High security. Let's open it up for you. Look at that. If you remember the Series 1 Esprit interior, there is the more affordable alternative. Lots of tartan, charcoal metallic with a sidewalk blue tartan interior, mini light wheels. It's had a new rear subframe fitted and a brake overhaul. They only made 1,000 of these, and 500 were meant for Japan. So this is one of only 500 UK cars, and it's nice. A couple of very light paint imperfections on the roof. That just looks like from storage there if you look, but the paint is lovely. And I do think this is one of the nicest looking special editions, I have to say, the sidewalk. Not too bad at all on the seams. It's had paint. This is, I would say, been repainted, but really not to a bad standard. Tiny little bit of corrosion on the door. But that's no reserve, so that's the good thing. Not only is it a great special edition, a rare one, in a great colour combination, but you choose the price. Love that a lot. 61 Morris fan. Mini commercials are good news. This is going to be, again, I think, a very usable classic. What could you do with this? Take it to a show, put your camping stuff in the back, use it for your business. Imagine this parked outside your shop, or sign written, buy it for your business, put it through your business. 4,600 miles since the work was done. The original Buff logbook. It's got the floor start and the smooth roof, which is nice. It's Michelin tyres, a UK home market car, and just really clean and level. It's amazing what these are worth now. I think you'd pay somewhere between 12 and 14 grand for this. But a really usable commercial. They drive like a Mini. They have a longer wheelbase, so they're even more stable and fun on the limit. And like I say, sign write it, use it, put it through the books. What a thing to own. Now, if you like your Minis with a bit more boot space, a bit more rare and exclusive, and you don't mind getting your hands a little bit dirty, here is some fun. Here is a 1968 Riley Elf Mark III. No reserve on this, really nice rewarding project. You can see the panels are there, but when the panels have gone on, I don't think they've been primed or prepped for paint very well, so that will all want coming off and doing again. But it's quite level, you know. There's a bit of corrosion around the end. You can see there's definitely a bit of floor work to do. I'm singing the Flintstones a bit if you look through at the driver's floor there. But lovely original interior. It will need bodywork, it will need mechanical restoration. But what's nice is it's all there. So if you've got any good with a welder or a paint brush or a paint stick or a paint sprayer, this could be a project for you. If you do have a bodywork outlet, I think you've just found your summer project. But no reserve, again, have a bit of fun with it. You tell us what you think it's worth. And again, we've got another Sunbeam Alpine, the original Bond car in the sale. This is another one. This is going to be a little bit cheaper. Needs a bit of paint on the back. This has got 58,000 miles. It's a manual with overdrive, this one as well. It's had a very sheltered life, only got 3 keepers, and had a restoration in 2018, 2019, and it's one of the last cars ever made. The interior is very lovely. What I can tell you about this, it looks like it to be a very, very level car, I have to say. It just needs, I think this paintwork, whenever it was done, just is starting to show its age. So just run it around as a bit of shabby chic for now, or give yourself a bit of budget to get that paintwork sorted and you'll be as good as gold. But that car will be somewhere between 10 and 12. Lots of bits being done to this as well. Do have a look. I can't even tell you how many things have been spent on this because it would take us all of the rest of this film. That could be a great little thing. So there you go, my friends. That is the next sale, Saturday the 13th of April. Make sure you're registered to bid. Do come and see us. If you're watching this early, we've still got Thursday and Friday, 10 to 4 as our viewing days, or register to bid online, manorparkclassics.com, or I will see you in the room Saturday. Fun starts from 9.